Top stars this hour. Federal government reiterates winning war against terrorism with major achievements recorded in Northeast, dismissing alleged Christian genocide. Omoyele Showore's arraignment suffers another setback as court adjourns proceedings to December 2nd. Senate passes electric vehicle transition and green mobility bill for second reading. On the foreign scene, at least 85 people killed, thousands displaced as one of strongest typhoons rips through the Philippines. Good evening, this is news at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Olufemi Alebe. The federal government on Wednesday reiterated that it is winning the war against terrorism with major achievements recorded in the northeastern part of the country. Speaking during a press briefing, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said troops have neutralized over 592 terrorists in Borno State since March. According to the minister, the current administration has made multi-million-dollar investment in modernized equipment for security agencies, noting that President Bola Tinubu has always supported the nation's armed forces. Idris said the commander-in-chief has increased the budgetary allocation for the military. He explained that Tinubu has demonstrated the political will to root out terrorism, rampaging bandits and other criminal elements terrorizing the nation. The minister also ruled out military operations in the northwest region of the country, saying the onslaught against criminals had led to the surrendering of bandits in the region.
Extremists and criminals waging war against our country and against our values. Also, Nigeria's security challenge cannot be fully understood without acknowledging the volatile security situation in the Sahel region and complicating factors such as the collapse of Libya over a decade ago, flooding the region with terrorist elements. This has also led to the illegal importation of illegal weapons and firearms into Nigeria. The socio-economic dimension of the conflict in the north central, especially in Plateau and Benue State, was exacerbated by the age-long farmers-herders violent clashes, which is made worse by issues of climate change and desertification. In this regard, President Tinubu is working studiously to address the economic context in addition to creating the Ministries of Regional Development and Livestock Development, which have changed the design and framework of the way people have access to economic benefits in these areas. The hope of the administration is that this will stimulate rural economic independence and also interdependence amongst people. This, of course, is intended to provide that soft, non-kinetic approach to ensure that issues of terrorism, extremism related to these conflicts are addressed once and for all. The recent change in service chiefs by the president, which, by the way, happened even before this designation by the United States of America, and the subsequent realignment within the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies, reflect President Bola Tinubu's determination to reinvigorate Nigeria's security architecture. This strategic overhaul is designed to infuse fresh energy, innovation, and accountability into our national defense and intelligence systems. The mission is to deliver better results, strengthen coordination among the services, and stamp out terrorism and violent crime in every part of Nigeria. The President's directive is unequivocal to the armed forces.
In another development, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says foreign lobbyists are fueling the narrative of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja on Wednesday, Idris said the government's findings point to a network of external actors, particularly in the United States, deliberately promoting divisive and misleading portrayals of Nigeria's internal security challenges. Idris said while the administration recognizes that insecurity has affected many communities, there is no evidence to support claims of systemic targeting of any religious group in the country. Also speaking at the press briefing, the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, maintained that no religion is being targeted for genocide in the country.
Is abhorrent. But when you look at the various figures in the last 10 or more years, and you do a comparative analysis with the last 2 years, you will see the tremendous efforts that this government had put in place and the actions so far taken to stem the tide of this insecurity. Insecurity which we know, except one is deceiving himself, nearly everybody in this country knows that there is no deliberate targeting of any religion for persecution. There are factors. Sometimes when these terrorists go to attack, they don't go to attack because of the religion of those inhabitants of those communities. They go to attack for different reasons. Largely economic. Some may be political, but it's largely economic. But then, ironically, some of those communities are inhabited by a particular religion. So now to use the faith of the inhabitants as the motive for the attack is totally off the mark. It does not reflect the reality on ground. And we all know it. So, my plea to you as media men, gatekeepers, is to note the criticality of the various action steps and statistics reflecting the results of actions. For instance, how many people know or is aware that the terrible attack on a church in Owo some years back, before this administration, if you recall, where worshippers were killed right inside the church, those marauders had been apprehended and are facing prosecution. Whereas some people still bandy that as, oh, where are those people who did this? Where are the perpetrators? They are not brought to book. They are not.
Elsewhere, the Nigerian Immigration Service has announced plans to introduce a single travel emergency passport to replace the existing emergency travel certificate for Nigerians abroad. The Comptroller General of Immigration, Kemi Nanda, has said the new document forms part of the agency's ongoing reforms to strengthen identity management and border governance in line with global best practices. She made the announcement while speaking at the joint thematic meeting of the Khartoum Rabat and Niamey processes co-hosted by Nigeria in collaboration with the government of France. The meeting brought together key migration stakeholders, including the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Person, NAPTIP, ECOWAS, AU, EU, and representatives from African and European countries. According to Nandap, the STEPS initiative will serve as a secure and verifiable temporary travel document for Nigerians abroad whose passports have expired, been lost, or been stolen. She explains that the passport will be issued at designated Nigerian embassies and consulates and will be valid for a single entry into Nigeria. The arraignment of activist Omoyele Sowore has suffered yet another setback as Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court in Abuja adjourned proceedings to December 2nd. At the day's preceding, Counsel of the Department of the State Service, Akinlolu Kehinde, had urged the court to issue a bench warrant against Sowore for being absent to take his plea without justification, having been served the charges and hearing notice from the last adjourned date. The senior lawyer said Sowore's action was an affront to the sanctity of the court and must be treated with a punishment such behavior deserved. He urged the judge to invoke his inherent power to issue a bench warrant for the arrest of the defendant by security agents. Justice Umar, however, noted that the order for bench warrant will not subsist for now, following the submission of the second defendant, X Corporation, that they have not been served the charge sheet, even though they received hearing notice. The trial judge then directed that all parties should be duly served and then adjourned the case to December 2 for arraignment. In the meantime, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Olohundare Jimoh, has reaffirmed that his declaration of activist Omoyele Sowore as wanted remains in effect, vowing that the police will take all lawful steps to arrest him. Jimoh had on Monday declared Sowore wanted for allegedly causing a disturbance of public peace and acts to commit a serious felony by planning to obstruct traffic on the Third Mainland Bridge. Speaking in an interview on Wednesday, the police commissioner said Sowore had yet to report to the police since the declaration and reiterated his commitment to pursuing the case. He explained that Sowore's lawyer had contacted him via text message on Monday while he was responding to a riot, and that the message was forwarded to the officer in charge of legal at the Nigerian police force for follow-up. Jimoh, however, noted that Sowore had failed to report to the police as agreed. Talking politics, the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Umar Damagum, has described the recent ruling by Justice Akintola of the Oyo State High Court as a courageous affirmation of the party's constitutional right to conduct its 2025 elective national convention. Damagum made the remarks on Wednesday at the PDP Board of Trustees meeting at the Bauchi State Governor's Lodge in Asokoro, Abuja. The PDP acting chairman said the ruling resolved earlier legal challenges and confirmed that the PDP has fulfilled all legal requirements to hold its internal democratic exercise. Damagum further reflected on the divisions within the party, noting that his leadership had prioritized reconciliation over vengeance, emphasizing the need to heal rifts that emerged after the 2023 general elections. He urged the incoming National Working Committee to demonstrate courage and integrity, stressing the importance of leadership capable of uniting the party, reviving its structures, and inspiring members across the federation. Also speaking at the meeting, Board of Trustees Chairman Aldofos Wabara appealed to warring members of the party to sheath their swords and prioritize reconciliation for the sake of the party's unity. The People's Democratic Party in Ebonyi State has dismissed reports claiming that some of its top leaders, including the 2023 governorship candidate High Chief Ifeanyi Chukwuma Odi, have been suspended from the party. The purported suspended leaders are the 2023 governorship candidate Odi, the deputy governorship candidate Senator Paulinus Nwagu Solomon Nwe, the Southeast National Vice Chairman Goodluck Egu, the immediate past PDP Ebonyi State legal advisor Chief Modi Erenede, Moses Idika, among others. In a statement released on Wednesday, the Director of Media and Publicity of the Anyi-Ga Emeya movement, Moses Idika, described the report as the handwork of faceless individuals posing as the party's publicity secretary. He urged the public to disregard the statement, stressing that the Ebonyi PDP currently has no state working committee and therefore cannot make any decision on behalf of the party. Idika said the party is currently working with the National Working Committee to set a new date for congresses in line with the court's directive. The Senate has passed the Electric Vehicle Transition and Green Mobility Bill 2025 for its second reading. The legislation seeks to create a national framework for Nigeria's shift to electric vehicles, promote local manufacturing, and strengthen the country's commitment to environmental sustainability. Sponsored by Senator Orji Uzor-Kalu, the bill received broad support as lawmakers outlined strategies for transitioning to electric mobility through local content development, foreign partnership, and nationwide charging infrastructure. Leading the debate, Kalu said the law aims to transform Nigeria's automotive and energy sectors, foster innovation, and create jobs across the manufacturing value chain. He noted that the bill provides tax holidays, import duty waivers, toll exemptions, subsidies, and road tax reliefs for electric vehicle users and investors. It also mandates the installation of charging stations in all fuel outlets nationwide. A key provision requires foreign automakers to partner with licensed Nigerian assemblers and establish local assembly plants within 3 years, with at least 30% local content sourcing by 2030.
Colleagues, this bill seeks to create a comprehensive legal and institutional framework that will guide Nigerians' gradual transition from dependence on fossil fuel-powered vehicles to clean, energy efficient, and environmental friendly electric vehicles, EVA, in line with global best practice and our national commitment under various international environmental agreements. Background and rationale. Nigeria today faces a twin challenge: environmental degradation and energy dependency. Our transport sector remains one of the largest contributors of carbon emissions, responsible for about 20 to 30% of total greenhouse gas output. With over 12 million registered vehicles in Nigeria, almost all powered by petrol or diesel, we are confronted with a pressing need to rethink on our mobility strategy. Distinguished colleagues, while advanced nations are making sufficient progress in electrifying their transport systems, with countries like Norway targeting full electric mobility by 2030, and even major African countries such as South Africa and Kenya adopting national EV policies, Nigeria risks being behind if they do not act decisively. This bill therefore seeks to position Nigeria to benefit from the global shift towards green mobility and encouraging investment, innovation, and industrial growth in the electric vehicle sector. Objectives of this bill, Mr. President. The key objective of this electric vehicle transition and mobility bill are: 1, promote the gradual transition from fossil fuel-powered vehicles to electric and hybrid vehicles. Establish a national electric vehicle development and promotion council to coordinate, regulate, and drive policy implementation across all tiers of government. Encourage all manufacturers and assemble electrical vehicles, batteries, components through fiscal incentives and public-private partnership. Develop charging infrastructure nationwide to support electric vehicle adoption.
The Senate on Wednesday received the interim report of its ad hoc committee investigating crude oil theft in the Niger Delta, amid fresh concerns that Nigeria may have lost more than $300 billion in unaccounted crude proceeds over the years due to alleged collusions of poor industry oversight and entrenched sabotage networks. The committee, chaired by Senator Nadinwoko, was set up earlier this year to probe the persistent theft of crude oil, bunkering operations, illegal export networks, and alleged compromises with regulatory and security systems, a crisis long blamed for dwindling production and Nigeria's failure to meet OPEC output quotas. Presenting the interim findings, WOCO disclosed that the committee uncovered systemic irregularities, poor measurement standards, and weak enforcement across the petroleum value chain. The preliminary document, which runs into about 40 pages, lays out proposed reforms and urgent actions. The report further advised the federal government to equip security agencies with modern surveillance technology, including unmanned aerial vehicles, to monitor pipelines and export routes. It also called for the establishment of a maritime trust fund to enhance maritime security infrastructure and interagency intelligence operations.
The federal government should deploy adequate modern technology, equipment, logistics to security agencies to enable them to function effectively. This may include the use of UAVs, such as quadcopters, for surveillance and integrity pipeline monitoring system to detect thefts and leaks. 3, federal government should establish a maritime trust fund for the purpose of supporting the development and maintenance of maritime infrastructure, services, and initiatives. The fund is strategic to improving maritime training, safety, security, and fostering economic growth. The federal government should set up a special court to promptly prosecute crude oil thieves and their collaborators. 5, federal government should immediately implement the Host Communities Development Trust Fund under the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, to reduce sabotage. Next, all abandoned and decommissioned wells should be completely ceded to NUPLC, who should in turn hand such wells to modular refineries to reduce sabotage and increase crude availability for local consumption. 7, the ad hoc committee should be given the mandate to track, trace, and recover all proceeds of stolen crude oil transactions, both locally and internationally, as forensic review by the consultants shows over $22 billion, $81 billion, and $200 billion remains unaccounted. Conclusion: the committee appreciates the Senate leadership and the entire Senate for the opportunity to serve in this regard. It is the sincere hope of the committee that the recommendations will be strongly implemented to serve as deterrent for future theft of the nation's crude oil and help recover crude funds.
Still to come, a tragedy strikes Dogon Karfe level crossing in Jos Plateau State as train returning from Bukuru station collides with a tricycle, leaving 2 people dead and 2 others injured. We'll bring you on these when we return.
Kiriji War, also known as Ekiti-Parapa War, was waged among Yoruba main ethnic groups which emerged from the ruins of the falling Oyo Empire that were desperate to replace the awesome powers hitherto wielded by the Alaafin of Oyo. The Kiriji War is defined as a conflict of confederacy and unitary political system championed by Yorubas of different socioeconomic and political interests. The Ibadan military aristocrats felt they deserved a dominant position for saving Yoruba land from being totally submerged by the Fulanis by their victory in Osogbo War of 1840 and Ijaye War of 1862. Kiriji War, that took its name from the booming motor sounds of European arms, festered for so long because the Industrial Revolution in Europe provoked high standards of slaves. The 16-year civil war also caused the emergence of new powerful kingdoms like Ibadan and the rise of powerful personalities like Oluyole, Ogunmola, Koromi, Latosha, Shodeke, Fabumi, and Ogedengbe. One of the fallouts of Kiriji War was the birth of creative political and leadership structure in Yoruba land that was a blend of federalism and the autocratic monarchical system. Western Spring Television identifies Kiriji War as a watershed event.
I am just too funny, and I have superpowers to bring extinct animals back to life. Okay, that's not true, but I do have the voice to save our remaining wildlife. We have only 400 elephants and 100 gorillas left. We can't afford to lose even a single one anymore. So let's work together to protect our natural heritage. Tell your family and friends not to buy illegal bushmeats like pangolins and crocodiles, because poaching steals from us all.
Samuel Ladoke Akintola was a frontal figure in the historical moves that birthed an independent Nigeria from colonial Britain. As a freedom activist, he deployed his wits, energy, intellect, and oratory skills to prepare the grounds for constitutional talks that eventually culminated in the country's independence in 1960. The 13th Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land cut his teeth as a politician when he became a foundation member of Action Group, the dominant political party in the Western region, and was elected the party's parliamentary leader of opposition at the Federal House of Representatives. The crisis in the Action Group, which pitched Samuel Ladoke Akintola against his leader, was not only a sore point in his colorful political life, but a reversal of gains which characterized the exemplary leadership of Awolowo Akintola premiership. 23 years after his death, Oyo State University of Technology Ogbomosho was renamed Samuel Ladoke Akintola University of Technology to keep his memory alive. Western Spring Television identifies Samuel Ladoke Akintola as a major character in history.